Welcome, everybody, to Bunch Formation Live College Football Playoff Edition. I'm Chris Vannini. I am here by myself tonight. David Ubben is currently in Knoxville with the family, telling me that it's basically that it's not going well. He said, I'm busy trying to wrangle my 1-year-old and my 3-year-old in the home of my mother-in-law, tell my story when I'm gone. Also, she keeps it at 78 degrees. So David Ubben not able to join us. Most likely, he may pop in at some point if something's going on. But waiting for the show to start here. We're gonna react live to it as it goes on. I've got it on my TV screen here. Welcome, everybody. If you're popping in now, we're gonna react live to the rankings as they finally happen with that basketball game mercifully over. I love college basketball. Great sport. I do not care about it in November. It is just, that's football time. We got more important things to do, such as talk about these rankings. If you're new to the stream, please subscribe to Bunch Formation on YouTube or podcast, wherever you listen to those. We will have a preview show for the big rivalry week. Might go up later Wednesday, if not Thursday morning. Still working out the time with David on when we're going to record that, but we're going to talk about rivalry games, coaching news, all kinds of stuff. Going to be a loaded show when David has some time for it. But as of now, we are waiting for this ranking show to start. Only a good 50 minutes after it was originally scheduled. Love to fit things in that window. Please drop any comments or questions or anything you have in the chat. I think the only I don't have a ton of major questions coming in right now. Obviously, one is Notre Dame, Miami, but I don't think that's going to change. It's very possible they don't change anything in the top 14. Everybody won or didn't play. The only question I might have there is if Utah slides down at all. And if they do, Miami's right behind them. Could it inch Miami another little step closer to Notre Dame to a point where they get compared? We don't know. The other question I have, Texas and Vanderbilt. They were 3 spots ahead last week. 2 teams in between them. Those 2 teams were USC and Georgia Tech, both of whom lost. Does that mean Texas and Vanderbilt get compared? Even though Texas has 3 losses, they beat Vanderbilt. That could be a reason to flip them. We will see. Now, Reese is going through the rules of the playoff again, as if anybody watching doesn't know this already. What questions do you guys have? Anything? Or questions about non-college football stuff, Thanksgiving stuff, coaching changes. Eric Morris, now the head coach at Oklahoma State. We'll talk about that. He's going to coach out the season, stay with the team for the American Championship if they win this weekend, for the playoff if they make it. And he probably won't be the only Group of 5 coach doing that. So we'll see. All right, the rankings have begun. Arizona, number 25. Number 24, Tulane. Number 23, Georgia Tech. Number 22, Pitt. 21, SMU. That means SMU in the top 21, which does make it a better loss for Miami. But Tulane's still the only ranked Group of 5 team. If they beat Charlotte, which they will, Charlotte is 1-10. If Tulane wins that game, they will play in the American Championship. If North Texas beats Temple, it'll be Tulane versus North Texas. Winner gets the Group of 5 spot in the playoff. I don't see a path for James Madison unless Charlotte and Temple win, but that is unlikely. Or a 5-way tie in the ACC, which is unlikely as well. All right, number 20, Arizona State. Number 19, Tennessee. 18, Virginia. 17, USC. And 16, Texas. So Texas does not jump ahead of Vanderbilt. They're up 1 spot. So I'm curious where Vanderbilt will be. USC only dropping 2 spots. I think it's understandable. They've got the win over Michigan. I actually kept USC ahead of Michigan in my rankings for the time being because of that head-to-head. And I still think they're close. But if Michigan loses Ohio State, they'll drop down anyway. So it works out. And if they had won, they would jump up anyway as well. So, all right. Now we got the top 15. Number 15, Michigan. Michigan jumps ahead of Texas. That kind of surprises me. Michigan beat Maryland and Texas beat Arkansas. Why was that a reason to jump Texas? What was that last week? Let me see. Last week's rankings had Michigan and had Texas one spot ahead of Michigan. I need an explanation on that. That feels like something. That feels like an excuse to keep Texas and Vanderbilt apart. That's a little bit odd. Number 14, Vanderbilt remains at number 14. Very weird. Ultimately, may not matter. I mean, look, it doesn't really matter. I don't think. Like the question is, like, if Texas beats Texas A&M, would they jump Vanderbilt if they beat Tennessee anyway? I don't know. All right, Utah down one spot to number 13. So I would presume that means Miami. Yes, Miami is up one spot to number 12, inching closer to Notre Dame, but not there yet. Interesting. Yeah, it's weird decision. All right, waiting for the rest of it here. Figure this is going to be a truncated show. Number 11, BYU. No change there. I would imagine the top 10 is the same. By the way, this show will not be on your podcast feeds, by the way. This is just going to be the live show since it's just me. It's not going to be interesting enough audio to put up there. We'll get David's thoughts on the rankings on the preview show. John Butler says the committee has no integrity, period, full stop. One ranked G6 is a joke. I mean, the committee has always ranked group of 5 teams lower than the polls. It's always been the case for 12 years now that we've done this. When like I've done the mock committee, I've been in that room where you see the data and everything. And whenever you like see the G5 comparisons and you see the schedules, like they have like green and red if it's like different shades in terms of how good an opponent is and how bad an opponent is. When you compare those and you see the G5s and you see so much red on that schedule, your brain kind of thinks, oh, there's more green, therefore this one is better. I wrote about this last year. It's one of the things I think that hurts group of 5 schools when comparing them. Number 10, Alabama. Number 9, Notre Dame. Both of those remain the same. ESPN's going to really try to like stall this and create some drama to reveal a top 10 that is the exact same as a week ago. In terms of the G6, I have North Texas as my top G6, G5 team. The schedule is not as tough as Tulane, obviously, but North Texas blew out UTSA and Tulane lost handedly to UTSA. So for that comparison, I put North Texas above. Ultimately, probably won't matter. They'll play each other. The winner will get it. But that's just kind of my reasoning right now. And then also North Texas beat Washington State by 49 points. James Madison only beat them by 4. I know Washington State changed quarterbacks and it's not the same team or whatever, but it's a comparison point you can't ignore. So I have JMU behind Navy too, but if Navy loses Memphis, it sorts itself. Anyway, walks up. I saw you mentioned GJ Kinney in the list of possible Morse replacements at UNT. Any intel there? I'll try to talk about that on the next show. We'll get into some more coaching stuff. I'll also have a coaching carousel notebook on The Athletic going up on what day is today? Going up on Wednesday. Ole Miss. Oh, actually, Ole Miss drops one spot to number 7. I presume that means Oregon jumps up to number 6. Some of these spots really don't matter because they still have teams to play. I mean, if Oregon beats Washington, they would have jumped Ole Miss anyway. And if they lose, does it give buffer spot for Oregon if they lose? Is Oregon still in? I don't know. Like it really depends. Does Oklahoma beat LSU? Does Alabama beat Auburn? Does Ole Miss beat Mississippi State? Vanderbilt, Tennessee is there. So it's Miami, Pitt. There is a real possibility of a logjam of 10-2 teams that's going to make it actually really hard to decide. Number 5, Texas Tech, the same. SSS Shaw says, let's be real. If the committee could leave out a G6 team altogether, they would. I mean, yeah. I mean, if they were, I mean, if the committee was just ranking the top 12 teams, no, a G5 team this year wouldn't get in there. They did get in there last year. Remember, Boise State got the bye. Like the committee liked Boise State last year because Boise State took Oregon to the last play of the game. All right, 4 Georgia, 3 Texas A&M, 2 Indiana, 1 Ohio State. That's all the same. So your first teams out are BYU and Utah, but that feels a little bit misleading because I don't think they really are based on the games that are still to play this weekend. Like Michigan would jump them if they beat Ohio State. Vanderbilt would probably jump them if they beat Tennessee. Pitt is ranked, so Miami may jump them if they beat Pitt. They don't. BYU and Utah, I don't believe has as good of a closing game there, while the others play ranked teams. It is weird seeing Miami in the bracket. They're in my bracket too, even though that's not officially what it is. So that's the full bracket. I'll hang around here for a couple more minutes. If anybody has any thoughts on the rankings, no real big surprises. Nothing that really dramatically changes things. So we've got Miami at oh no, that's the yeah, Miami's at 12, Notre Dame's at 9, so they're still not as close. And Texas Vanderbilt, that one's kind of weird. I don't know why Michigan jumps Texas there, but another question here. Could Oregon get ahead of Texas Tech possibly with a win, or is the top 7 basically a lock if they all win? Well, Texas Tech would still have the Big 12 championship game. And so if they win that, they will stay ahead. If Texas Tech loses that game and loses the second game, maybe. We don't know. Like it's a big question. What will you do with teams that lose a conference championship games? Because those teams, a lot of those teams could be on the bubble this year. Last year it was just SMU. They were in, still had to play a championship game, lost a close game to Clemson, stayed in. But what about Alabama? Alabama's sitting there at 10. If they beat Auburn and everybody else wins, they go to the SEC championship to play Texas A&M. If they lose to A&M for a third loss, does that knock them out to move in a team like maybe a Miami who didn't play a conference championship? I don't think they would, and I don't think they should. If you're in and you play a conference championship game, I don't think it should affect your ability to get in or out of the playoff unless you are leapt over by a team that won a conference championship and stole a bid. Like if somebody upsets Texas Tech, who wasn't in the field otherwise. Andrew says, so stupid to put Miami in the bracket when it's not currently possible based on conference standings. Yeah, it's like I do the same thing too. It is technically Miami still has a path. It will require several things happening, but there is technically a path. So I'm not projecting them to win the conference though. Nobody's projecting them to win the conference. So yes, it is a little bit weird. That's the problem with these conferences being so big. Like I think the 2 best teams in the ACC are SMU and Miami. And if Georgia Tech had not been upset last week, neither SMU or Miami would be in position to go to the ACC championship. Georgia Tech lost, so that helped SMU, but Miami's got a much more difficult path. Yeah, Miami's rooting for Virginia Tech to upset Virginia, as well as I'm trying to think that you probably need Duke. I think they need Duke to lose because I think a 5-way tie gives it to Duke for some reason. So you would need Duke to lose to Wake. I think they're playing Wake. Is that right? You would need Virginia. Yeah, because Georgia Tech can't lose again. So We'll see. Could Virginia lose to Virginia Tech? Maybe. I mean, Virginia looked really good in their last game against Duke. That was like the best they have looked in a very, very long time. Says Cal to beat SMU 2, I think is needed. Possibly. We'll go through all the tiebreakers in tomorrow's or Thursdays, whatever, the preview episode of the show, because it is a lot to like. If we know a lot of teams, if you win, you're in. We know that's the case for a lot. SMU, Virginia, you win, you're in. If you don't, then it gets a little bit weird. We will figure that out. So subscribe to the show on YouTube and on podcast. If you can, please give it a like. David appears not upset enough about anything to jump in here, but no real surprises here. While Notre Dame, Miami, what can you do? It is what it is at this point. Miami's going to need to destroy Pitt the way Notre Dame did if they want to keep that conversation going. It would also help them if Auburn beat Alabama and some other things happen. You need to find ways to. That's why Kansas State not beating Utah. Well, I guess it didn't matter because Miami jumped ahead of Utah, but you've got BYU ahead of them. You've got Alabama ahead of them. 9, 10, 11, 12. Yeah, so you have BYU and Alabama. BYU plays UCF at home. I imagine BYU will be a heavy favorite in that game. So Miami needs BYU to lose to UCF. You need Alabama to lose to Auburn. And Miami needs to beat Pitt handily. Those three things happen, then you start to have the conversation. I think that's ultimately what that is. So we'll get into all these previews, scenarios, different things that need to happen on the next show. We'll be recording with David tomorrow. Don't know yet when because he doesn't know. But a lot going on. We'll talk coaching carousel. We'll talk rivalry games. We'll talk playoff implications, conference tiebreakers, all this stuff. Please subscribe to the show if you have not yet. And thank you to everybody who's here listening. Obviously, a smaller crowd, less drama for this show. It's, people are heading out for Thanksgiving now. Hope everybody has a good holiday, Thanksgiving, whatever you do. I'll be at Texas A&M on Friday night. I'm loving that. David's going to be at Vanderbilt versus Tennessee. A lot going on. There's I think I saw 17 games have CFP implications this weekend or something like that, or maybe 17 teams. It's fun. This is the fun of the expanded playoff. It means there's a lot more meaningful games going on. I'm looking forward to it. So, without David Ubben, I'm Chris Vannini. Thank you for watching Bunch Formation Live. We will be back either mid to late Wednesday or on Thursday. Don't yet know when the show is going to go live, but please look out for it. And always, please bring back the turnover chain. See ya.